Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? I hope we're well. It's a wet day. It's ground wet, actually. You can hear behind me. Yeah, sorry, I'm just sending out a thing. So yeah, how we all keep it? I hope we're well. Happy Wednesday, would you believe? It's Wednesday already because it's obviously the bank holiday here in Ireland. So it feels like, I don't know what it feels like, but it's weird, with the bank holiday. It shouldn't probably be Wednesday already. But basically halfway through the week. We're basically nearly there already. 2 more working days anyway. Good evening, Sean. How are we keeping? I hope we're well this evening. I hope we haven't been washed away yet, because there's just been an insane amount of rain. I think everybody's been washed today. Where is Teresa Manu in what though? But yeah, everything's been washed away. Hi there, Fiona. How are we keeping? How are we keeping? How are we doing? How's things this Wednesday evening? I hope we're all somewhat nice and dry because it's just been miserable today. I was out to walk earlier on today and I'm fucking drowned. Literally drowned. Literally. Like my jacket's still downstairs, is just soaking. My poor hat is soaked. Everything is soaked. Basically, it's not going to. There's literally a big puddle on the ground. Because literally full of water. There's more water on me than there was on the river. In the river. Or in the lake, in the sea. Like if I went and jumped into the sea, I would have less water on my jacket. Less and less. What the? There was thunder. Yeah, there was supposed to be a bad thunderstorm in Dublin. There was a Monday, lightning and thunder supposedly at around 3 o'clock or so in the morning. Not here. It's just been constant rain. There's been no thunder or lightning here. But it's just been constant rain and constant rain and constant rain. But I presume we'll probably get it sooner or later because usually that happens when it's good weather. Well, this afternoon you got it there. I did. It wasn't here in Cavan. No, must have been up. It must be a Dublin thing. But you got a notification. I'm surprised you got a notification, Fiona. Or did you happen just to see it come up the live stream too? Because we're trying to rectify that. We have a messenger group now, and we're trying to rectify. Because often people say they don't get notifications and stuff. So we have to work out how we can work that out. You got notification, but that's good. You got notification for once, Fiona. And YouTube must be happy with me. Hello, Aaron. How are we keeping? It's good to see you. It's been a long time. I seen you the other day, actually, my comments. Well, not the other day, actually. It was yesterday, sorry. What am I talking about the other day? Yeah. Hope we're well. All the best here, and I hope all is good. I'm happy to hear that you're getting your award, too. Another year in a row, Jesus. You're winning everything. But yeah, shout out down, Hawk, and I hope we're well. It's been a long time since we chatted. I hope we're all good this Wednesday evening. Hope all is well. Of course it's well, but well, geez, we had literally none of it. Well, thankfully not, because I would have been destroyed probably by thunder. Well, not the thunder, it's the lightning that I'm more worried about. But when there's thunder, there's lightning. It's summer. It's not there. But you never know. You never know where lightning can strike, and that's just the worrying thing about lightning. As we've seen that time with the cows and just down the road from here. 10 cows were underneath a tree, and of course being underneath a tree is the worst place to be. But basically, the 10 cows were blown to bits, basically. But I don't know if people remember that. That was only a few months ago. That wasn't even that long ago. Literally only happened about 10 minutes. No, not even 10 minutes. 5 minutes down the road from here. I even vaguely remember seeing the lightning, like hitting it. Well, not hitting it, but I seen it going across the sky. That time, but that's a while ago. That's not today or yesterday. But there's a few weeks. When was it? I can't remember. But yeah, it was a good while ago. But I think everybody remembers that. Yeah, but it was a quite lost. Like it was 20 something thousand. No, actually, sorry, I'm lying to you. No, it was 30 something thousand. It was 30 something thousand it cost, like the lightning strike to the farmer. Huge loss for the farmer. Hello, Sharon. I seen that. Yeah, how are we keeping? I hope we're well. I hope all's good this Wednesday. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, it's quite a loss, that like a sheer loss, like especially in one, like it's just literally half of the field. I wouldn't mind. It was literally the only tree in the field. Like it was literally the only tree in the field, and it hit the tree in the middle of the field. There was nowhere to be found. But you're very welcome to the channel, Sergio. I hope I'm saying your name right. But you're very welcome to the channel. I'm glad to have you here. Where did I miss anything? I'm just trying to see because I was on about these cows. No, I think I'm caught up, yeah. Because I see when I go off my tangents. But yeah, no, it was quite a loss that time. But it just goes to show you too the power of lightning. Especially as I say, tree is the worst place to be near when there's lightning. But it can strike anywhere, and especially near the rivers and stuff. That's why I don't go near rivers too, because it runs across the water. It's quite dangerous. It really is quite dangerous. So the best thing to do with lightning is to stay in, because you just don't know where it's going to hit. Yeah, but definitely the worst thing is trees. Well, trees or water, yes. Name meta options, yes, too. But it's more near trees, as I seen there, because literally the only tree in the field, and it hit the cows, and it killed the 10 cows. These are big cows. These were big cows, like these weren't calves and stuff. The lightning just cooked them basically within a second. And it ran through the ground, like it hit the tree and went through the roots. You know, the roots of the tree, and that's how it killed the cows, because it hit the tree and then went through the roots, and that was underneath the cows and basically electrocuted the cows. But it just goes to show you the power of it. Because that was quite extreme. Like I seen the video of it and the photos of it and stuff, because it was just literally down the road, and it was quite bad. Now you take a bomb off, because some of the cows were very badly mangled by the lightning, like the feet and stuff were very badly mangled. I'm not going into too much details because it is very gross, but it was very badly mangled. Some of them, like the ones that were the closest to the tree, but still, the whole lot of them had a very bad doing. And for the poor farmer too, the insurance didn't cover it. The insurance didn't cover it because it never was conceived that that would ever happen, basically. So the insurance didn't cover him. So we had to pay for themselves, basically. We had to take the financial hit because it wasn't covered. You think it would be probably, but the way the insurance crowd see it was an act of God. So. That's the way they seen it as. Which it kind of is, because at the end of the day, nobody knew that was going to happen. Now you could argue, that there shouldn't have been just one tree in the middle of the field, but you can argue the cows come home about it. So I know I'm just doing a few things here. So yeah. So no, we were just how did we get to? Yeah, we were talking about Dublin, yes, and the lightning, yes. But yeah, it's been an awful few days, like in terms of weather-wise. It's quite a difference compared to the week before. That's all I say. But yeah, it's probably going to be like this now all weekend, unfortunately. I don't think it's going to clear up anytime soon. But we had our summer, I suppose, for a few minutes. But yeah, it was too warm the last few weeks too. So I suppose it's good and the farmers need the rain too. Um, but yeah, my eyes itchy. But yeah, we give it a few more minutes. Any other news? Any other fun with anybody? Any other news? Before we get started, because there's a good bit we want to discuss. But just if people have anything to say or anything they want to talk about, just want to have time because I have a few minutes now before I get started on yapping for about an hour. There isn't overly that much, but there's a bit. Let's see. So obviously, so we get started, but so obviously the Leaving Sultan Junior sort is happening today, and of course we have Norma Foley yapping yesterday. Some woman to yap, because if you remember when I was doing my Leaving Cert, it was hell on out. That woman ruined my childhood. I know we often hear Greta Thunberg saying that, but Norma Foley ruined my childhood with what she did with the Leaving Cert at that time. So yeah, never forgive Norma Foley for that. She's a dangerous woman. And just even speaking about Norma Foley, I just seen from Grip Media about 2 hours ago, I think it was, but 2 hours or 3 hours ago, excuse me, from Grip Media. They were asking Norma Foley about this new LGBT book. It's very graphic in some of the stuff that's been said. It's really very graphic. You can't remember specifically the name of the book, but it's very graphic. I do recommend you have a listen to that. It's only 4 minutes, so do have a listen to that if you have a few minutes later on. But Bennett Scallon really asked a few questions, but yeah, Norma Foley basically, the usual Norma Foley thing. I know nothing. I'm from Barcelona, basically. So basically, Norma Foley basically talked a lot of rubbish, basically. Went on for a good few minutes talking about everything else but the thing she was asked, and pretended to know nothing, and that she was from Barcelona. So yeah, have a look at that because it is very shocking. And I wouldn't mind, but particularly Ben Scanlon asked her, would you agree with this? Would you personally agree with this? And she wouldn't answer, would she personally agree with it? She wouldn't answer that question. She was asked 3 times and she wouldn't answer it. But that's just typical Norma Foley. But yeah, I don't know who voted for in Kerry, but good news. But it's insane how somebody voted for. The other thing I want to talk about, of course, and this is the huge thing at the moment, and it should be, it's to do with the Henry Navarro case in the United Kingdom, in Southampton particularly. I'm sure people have seen the body cam footage. I'm sure we all have seen it. It's quite gruesome. It's very gruesome. You've seen the last moments of a man. And the whole incident itself, it was basically a man who murdered the fellow, made up lies about him, and the fellow that was stabbed and killed was arrested for a crime that they didn't do, basically. Mainly, in my opinion, because he was white. That's the thing. It doesn't seem like there was anything else to suggest that he was doing it. So the police just were like, oh, this fellow's white, and you hold the word racism. Because the other fellow was an Indian, a sheikh, and he was an Indian, and he basically said, oh, he called me this, so he said this. And that's pretty much where we're at, because there's no really other suggestions. Yeah, no bother. Thank you. Thanks again for tuning in. Sorry, I can't speak. For tuning in. And I appreciate you for subscribing. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night and your evening, of course. And have a good rest. Have a good sleep. We'll chat again at some point. Thank you. But yeah, it is quite shocking. Especially the lack of care, particularly it's even worse with the body cam footage because it shows you the lack of care of the police. Because the man was saying it 9 times that he was stabbed, and the police was like, I don't think you have been stabbed. Imagine a cop sitting there and saying, I don't think you have, mate. And that's what basically happened. So he basically left to die, and he was arrested for a crime that he didn't do. And his last few minutes on air, just to say, the police officer told him that he was under arrest for assault, etc. In the last few minutes on air before he died, last few seconds on air before he died. So it's a quite really serious thing. but yeah, it's really upsetting. It's really upsetting. If anybody hasn't seen the video, no, I wouldn't watch it, but it is quite upsetting. But it is disgraceful what happened, and that this fellow, the sheiks, sheiks can carry around a salamander knife. That shouldn't be allowed in the West. They can go they can go do it in India if they want, but that shouldn't be allowed over here. They carry knives, even though for religious purposes, elementary purpose. But they shouldn't be allowed because we wouldn't get off for carrying a knife over in India, and rightly so. Mainly because you could just stab somebody. That's the simple truth. But hopefully, the person behind this, he's only got 21 years as far as I know, but he probably will get life. He probably should be going and getting the death penalty. This person who killed this young lad, that's probably what he should be getting. But unfortunately, that's not the case in the West. Where he's from, it would be the case, but not in the West. Good evening, Tom. How are we keeping? Hope we're well. Hope all is good with you. Hope you're having a good Wednesday evening. You're very welcome. What was I going to say? I was going to say something else. So yeah, this was to do when I put it up on the community post the other day. And this is to do with down in Cork particularly, and it's to do with the Gardaí in Cork. Now, this local councillor rang Cudroom Garda station in Cork and found out there was no guard on duty there. And he basically rang up on Garda Street O'Connor to see where was the nearest guard. Can he speak to a guard? And he was told the nearest guard was 45 kilometres away, just to say. So yeah, just to say that would have took an hour or two for him, the guard, to get to this first location. So God forbid if somebody was being broken into, or God forbid there was a murder happening, or somebody was being assaulted, it would take literally an hour for the Gardaí to turn up to the crime. But if you commit a third crime, don't worry, they'll be there in 5 minutes. They would have the defence forces out. They have the helicopter sent out to get you. But yeah, if it's anything to do with anything else, they don't care. But yeah, it would take 40. It was 45 kilometres away. Imagine that, ringing the Gardaí and say, "Oh, we're 45 kilometres away. We'll be there with you in 2 hours." That's the case the country's come to. And we get to the thing in Dublin, of course. We get to what happened in Dublin. We probably should have started with that first. Now, this is when we're speaking of the Dublin, we get on to the Dublin bit now. So we all have heard about the stabbing just in the city centre there, off Grafton Street, I think it was. A 31-year-old man. He's originally from Nigeria. He was working as a promoter for the nightclub, a part-time promoter. And now we don't know how it all came about. Was it to do with drugs? What was it to do with it? Did he say something to somebody? Did somebody say something to him? How did this all come about, basically? We don't know that. We really don't know. There's 2 people arrested as we speak. We don't know who they are. But it's very, very sad because this is 3 o'clock at night. And now, where was the Gardaí? That's the question needs to be asked too, because the Gardaí were nowhere to be found. This is in the city centre. Was the Gardaí asleep? Where were they? Were they in bed? What were they doing? Because there was none about. But yeah, it doesn't. Not too long ago, there was another Nigerian killed on the streets of Dublin from a nightclub too. I think people remember that too. That happened about a few months ago too. So I don't know what's happened. Was it the feud or what is happening? But it was quite vicious, going by the reports, that he was chased from street to street by multiple people and then stabbed in a place in the chest, and repeatedly 3 or 4 times in the chest. So we don't know what's all this about, but and the person allegedly that has stabbed him and that the Gardaí have in custody, just after being reported today by the Irish Independent, that a filing criminal investigated over the Dublin stabbing was out on bail for a different knife crime. So the person that killed the man was out for stabbing another person, basically what I'm trying to say. So he was out on bail for that. The other person that stabbed this fellow. So yeah, it's just typical Ireland, and who knows who he is and what his business was. But we don't know. Again, I presume it was another person from another country. I don't think it was probably Irish as far as we know. But we don't know, I suppose. We don't know that yet. But it does seem like it's something to do with, I don't know, did he say something or something like that? But it doesn't look like it was a random thing. Like, it looks like it was like they were out to get him, basically. It doesn't look like it was just a random person. He picked on the random person on the street, if that makes any sense. As far as we can gather from this. Because even they say there was an altercation and stuff. So like just a random thing that happened on the street, if that makes any sense. So it seems like it was orchestrated a bit. Now, what to talk about? Now, we talked about this the other day too. The murder in Clifton in Galway. Still a lot being said about that, but we have a bit more information to do with that too. And this is to do about it. Presumably, this man that killed her was her ex-husband or boyfriend. But apparently, it was multiple times she went to Garda Síochána about it. Multiple times. We reported on last Saturday that it was only once that she went to the Garda seeking a restraining order against the man to stay away from her. But it's been reported that it's been multiple times she made complaint, and that this man himself is an asylum seeker and was kicked out of the hotel that she was staying in because he was very violent towards her and to other people too. So he was getting basically free everything. And he was in the asylum center too, and he was kicked out for his behavior. You think he would have been deported, but that didn't happen. And unfortunately, this woman is dead because of that too. That if he was deported, he wouldn't have been able to do what he did. He should have been deported. He really, really should have been. This woman would be alive now, probably, if he wasn't deported. If he was deported, because he seemed to be a very violent individual that doesn't care for women. He thinks that women are beneath him. That's what I'm gathering from this. But I suppose we don't know. But I think he thought he could say what she could do, control her, if that makes any sense. But we don't know. But going by this, that is multiple times, not just the once occasion that she went to the Gaudi. It was a good few times. So this fellow shouldn't have been let into the country in the first place if he was known to do this. And who knows what his kind of a record is from where he's from. But clearly he shouldn't have been in the country. He was threatening to kill the woman before. He should have been probably sent home, at the very least. But he had a lot of murders, so many murders. And just actually when talking about murders, this is to do with a case of a person from Northern Ireland, a man from Northern Ireland. Now, this is an infamous case at this stage. Now, it's to do with a YouTuber that live streamed video footage, gameplay footage, pretending that he was live on YouTube. And meanwhile, he was killing his girlfriend that was pregnant with a child at the time. As an alibi, basically. I'm sure people have heard of that before, but he's been jailed for life. And rightly so. He probably should be getting the death penalty. But, as I say in the West, we don't do that, unfortunately. But he killed his girlfriend that was pregnant with a child. But tried to mislead the police, the state in Northern Ireland by pretending that he had an alibi. I was live streaming gaming content and stuff. But it was all pre-recorded. It was all set up to look like an alibi. But yeah. But he hopefully faces justice someday. But he's going to prison for life. But yeah, insane amount. But this is a few years ago now, and it's only been kind of brought up. These other two cases were just happened recently.
Goggles for you have access to hundreds of affordable glasses starting at $6.95.
So yeah, I know we went through a lot there. So give me throw a break because we kind of just ran through about 20 things now in about 5 minutes. But yeah, is there any questions or anything anybody wants to ask or anything? Sorry, give me 2 seconds. Just doing something here. Sorry, 2 seconds. Sorry, apologies. Give me a moment. Apologies. Sorry, because this person was messaging me earlier on. What is happening here? Sorry, I'm just looking. Sorry, because I was chatting to this person earlier on. And it was to do with something, and they said to send it on to me, basically, what they were talking about. And they just literally asked to send it on to me there. And I wouldn't mind, I was talking to them today at about 1 o'clock. And they said they sent it straight away to me. And I'm only getting it now at 7 o'clock. So apologies. That's why I'm just briefly looking through what they sent me. So I know. But yeah, these things can happen. Because they were like, oh, I sent it straight on to you. 1 o'clock, about 6 hours ago. So, sorry. Apologies for that. Sorry. Apologies. See, that's just the worst. That's the worst thing about live stream because everything always happens when you're doing something. And I could literally sit here all day tomorrow and do nothing, and nothing would happen. But as soon as I was going to do something, yeah, something happened. But yeah, the West has fallen. Somebody has. So let me see. Apologies. Apologies. I presume notifications didn't go out because a lot of people wouldn't have probably got them. But the other thing I want to talk about, I was just talking about this literally about an hour ago. This is to do with the Taoiseach is proposing that there be a referendum. Listen to this: to create a new ministerial office for maritime issues. Now he's talking about stronger department to deal with maritime issues in terms of legal fishing, etc., that kind of stuff on the high seas. Now, I don't know if you know about this, but it should be the Department of the Feds. It should be the department, it should be into the Department of the Feds. Like he's only talking about a job for the boys, basically. He's going to put some big bollocks in that is going to get 300,000 euro for doing fuck all, and a load of civil servants be scratching themselves in the government department, and probably selling their country out to the Chinese or whoever. But yeah, so he's proposing the referendum. So we see if it does go ahead, but not likely, because let's be fair, last time they had the referendum, it didn't go well for them. Shocker. But yeah, long story short, even if they were proposing a referendum, they give everybody in the country €1 billion. I would tell them they're going to stick the €1 billion up the hole. That's to be totally honest with you. I would say that's nearly what I would do, because you couldn't trust anything they say in terms of what they're proposing to do. Because let's be fair, there's no benefit to you and me, the only Irish public. It's only for their friends, basically, to deal with, help their friends out. So I wouldn't. We'll see what happens, but there's only suggestion at the moment. Of course, it'll probably take a year or two before they would have it. And of course, the majority of people probably wouldn't bother to ask to going forward for it, because it's only an old fucking, the most minor thing to create a government department. And then the people who would vote for it probably would say no. So, it's kind of they have missing the point. So. They're missing the point. What is this? Sorry, I'm sorry. There's too much going on these days. But yeah. What the fuck? Sorry. I'm just going through this thing, they said. See, I'm just too curious when it comes to these things. But yeah. We'll probably not bother, just the other thing I said, not to do with political stuff, but we might not bother tonight. I was going to play tonight the GEA game, but I think we wait. What day is tomorrow? Thursday. We'll probably do it Thursday evening tomorrow, the GEA game, just to say if anybody wants to watch that. I don't know what time we might do it. It will probably be early enough. We might do it early. Hello, Damon Murphy. How are you doing? Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Norman Price. Norman Price is doing well. I don't know if you've seen the video from Grep Media. I don't know if you've seen that video. It's on the community post. But yeah, Norma Foley really made a fool of herself today. She was like, I'm not even going to describe to you what Ben Scallon asked her in terms of a book that was telling telling children to know how to learn anal sex. Basically, this is even under 15-year-olds what to do this to, like this book. And number 40 was asked 5 or 6 times, did she agree with that? And she wouldn't answer the questions because that's typical number 40. She won't answer any question. She literally will not answer any question whatsoever. Like literally none. If you asked her what color the sky was, she was always fucking answer everything else. She'd go on talking about fucking the universe, but she would never answer the question what color was the sky. Hello OJ, how are we keeping? What age am I? 23. I had to think there for a second what age it was, and getting old. Because I had to stop and think for a second. I was like, what age am I actually? I am 23. Yes. That's see when you get on in years, you have to think for a second. But yeah, that's the age I'm. Or just Stumpy Israel now. Like the Israel account, I don't know if anybody ever seen that on Twitter. They replied to one tweet saying that age is only a number, and I don't know about that one. But yeah. The West. But yeah, so number 40 is talking smack. We're not even talking smack. She won't answer any question. Like literally, as I say, she would literally talk about every question you ask her. She always talk about something else, like everything else under the sun, but the question you asked her. So like she drives anybody mad. Poor Ben Scallon. I say he's probably in the pub at the moment. Because he nearly would have to go into the pub, because it's awful. For buffering. It shouldn't be buffering. I don't know why it would be buffering. Doesn't look like it. Not on my end. I don't see it on my end, unless I'm being an idiot. But I hope we will green face apart from that. Hopefully it might fix itself if it is an issue, but it doesn't seem to be an issue. Yeah, the signal's fine, and so I'm looking at it here, and it seems to be fine. You might have to just refresh. That could be the best option, because it does seem like it's fine. Yeah, but number 40, like when I was doing my leaving cert, it's only a while ago, she ruined my childhood along with other people's childhood. Leaving cert childhood, because it was to do with the leaving cert back then when COVID was happening. And do you remember when they wouldn't fucking make up their mind? Like number 40 disappeared for about fucking 7 weeks and nobody could find her. She wouldn't make her mind up about if the leaving cert was going to happen or not. And people were telling her, like, fucking cop on. Like, the woman can't do anything, basically. And there's also, where are the children, Norma? That should have been the question that was asked, though, too. Where are the missing children, number 40? Because as you know, there is 20-something missing children at the moment in the state, in Tusela's care, because she's the Minister for Children. And where are the missing children, Norma? That's what should have been asked of her, too. But number 40 doesn't give a shit, basically, what I'm trying to say. Like, if you asked her what happened to the missing children, she'd just fucking go on about, I don't fucking know what she would go on about, but she would go on about some fucking nonsense that has nothing to do with it. She'd go on about her childhood when she was a child or something like that. When you ask her, where are the missing children, Norman, what has happened to them? And she would go on about fucking the time she went to Bundown or something when she was a child or something like that. Just so she wouldn't answer the questions you're asking her. She'd talk about literally everything else but the thing you're asking her. So, So you can't win with normal 40. But I feel sorry for Ben Scallon. I think he deserves some medal for having to listen to normal 40 today. The West. But yeah, normal 40, one of the worst people ever to be a TD in this country. And that's saying something. But yeah. So I just want to talk about this bit of breaking news. Now, this is to do with the National Children's Hospital. I'm sure we're all happy to hear about the National Children's Hospital. We all love the National Children's Hospital. It's amazing. Still, it's not open. It's probably going to take another billion years before it opens, another €1 trillion to use. But yeah, this PR firm, this is to do with the PR firm, the bosses of it, get a share of €3.4 million. These are PR people. These are not people that build in the place. These are just people that are sitting on their asses trying to spin the government narrative, basically. They're getting 3.4 million. There you go. And they're probably going to get another 3.4 million soon enough, because it's still not open yet, the National Children's Hospital. It's not going to open to this Christmas. It's going to be in about 900 Christmases away. But yeah, it's absolutely a joke that we're still here waiting for it to open. And this is the 18th or 19th time now at this stage that it has not opened. So it's absolutely fucking farcical. Like, in no other country in the world would they put up with that kind of delay. Like, we're talking about 18 or 19 times delayed. Like, mother of God. Hello, everyone. I was thinking when you turn up. Yeah, definitely Will Coventry. Whatever the West, Will Coventry, particularly, I would classify the most. What is this now? What the fuck? The fuck is this? Sorry, I'm looking at something. You see, as I was saying earlier on, I was talking to somebody. They said to send me on what they were going to send me on, and that was at 1 o'clock, and I'm only getting it now, and I'm set down another load of stuff here. So apologies about it, because it's always when I go live. Like, if I sat here all evening, there'd be nothing given to me. Where in the name of Jesus is it gone? I seen a pop up there, and now I can't find it, which is typical. But yeah, how are we keeping out on it? How are we keeping this Wednesday? What the fuck is this, man? But no, the other thing I wanted to talk about, what was it? What the fuck was it? What was it? There was something else. Like, I was just about to say it, then I interrupted myself. What in the name of God was it? I probably have it somewhere. Yeah, we were just talking about literally that earlier on, yeah. It does seem to be. We don't know exactly, but it does seem to be, going by what I have in front of me. Now, we're not too sure, but it does look to be. It does look to be. Oh, you mean the EU migration pact? Yes. I've seen a lot of people talk about that. I still have to do a video on it. But a lot of people are saying to email their TDs, etc. But the unfortunate thing about it is they're going to vote for it. They're going to pass it. They're not going to, none of the Fianna Fáil, unless some of the Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael rebel. But none of them are going to do it. None of them will rebel against the one party. None of them are going to do it. Yes, but unfortunately, none of the politicians in Dáil Éireann, like, maybe you would have some independents in the aim to, maybe. But let's be fair, you would need Fianna Fáil, Fianna Gael TDs to say, no, we won't sign up to it. But none of them are going to do it. Like, you mean to tell me Willie O'Deed or any of them are going to say, no, we won't do it? You know. Or Mary Butler, you know, any of them, you know. Oh, I've seen that, yeah, in the community post, but still we need the Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil. You need some of them to say no, but none of them are going to say no. You know, that's my point. Because even if Sinn Féin, you know, said we're going to vote against it, right, and Sinn Féin were going to, you know, stand up against the Labour Party, the whole opposition party, you have to remember that the government still have the numbers. So they would need 3 or 4 or 5 of them to turn against them. Like, you need Willie O'Deed or Mary Butler or some of the ministers, number 40, God forbid. But, you know, you need some of them to say no. We won't put up, we won't sign for it, we're going to resign and bring down the government. But none of them are willing. Like, even the people that rule independence, Michael O'Leary, etc. Like, he's going to vote with the government. Whatever the government do, he's going to do it. And you think they rule independence, you think they'll be threatening to bring down the government. But they haven't bothered, because Michael O'Leary has a 2-cushy number. And it's basically Fine Gael true and true, basically. Like, he's no independent. And they're no independents themselves. Like, they should be kicking up holy fucking hell, you know. They really should be kicking up holy fucking hell. But I will talk about the immigration bill, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. Because it's same with the hate speech bill, well, apart from the hate speech bill, to do with the legislation, to do with Muckasoka, etc. and even to do with the fuel supports, etc., for people, and the protests, etc. Um, you know, unless you have a huge amount, because like I even heard many TDs, even when it came to the COVID legislation, etc., they would get thousands of emails. They would get thousands and thousands of emails, um, and they would be all ignored. Basically, they would all be ignored. It's the same, but like uh, I've heard one of my local partner, Neve Smith, before. I think it was to do with what was it to do with? It was something anyway, but she got thousands of emails about it to vote against it. And she still voted for it anyway. So what I'm trying to say, they're going to vote whatever the party says. Like Neve Smith is a junior minister. Like Neve Smith is not going to risk her job. And I know Neve Smith and stuff, but she won't risk her job. I know widely. She's not one of those people that are willing to risk her job. She's going to stay quiet to keep her job. Like she will do that. That's what Neve Smith would do. She might not agree with it, but she would. That's what she would do to keep her job. And that's the simple truth. That she will just sit there and stay quiet. Um, Yeah, but not even that. As I say, unless like Neve Smith, take for example, just as a perfect example, like she's not going to say he gets Fianna for me, Hamas. No, I won't. I won't put up with it. I'm going to assign my seat, or I'm going to vote against. Like she's not going to do that. Like the same with the majority of Fianna, because they'd be kicked out. Like soon as she do that, she'd be kicked out of the party. She'd be basically kicked out as an independent. You get my point. Like Neve Smith wouldn't be willing to do that. Basically, there'd be very few in Fianna Fáil and Fianna Gael that'd be willing to lose their seat, like lose their job in Fianna Fáil, the position in Fianna Fáil. None of them would be willing to do it. Like Willie O'Deal was on about the hate speech bill. I'm sure we were on the side with the hatred legislation too. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to stand up against it and stuff." And then he done nothing, basically, because the government told him, he basically was told, "Stay quiet or you lose your position and you lose your job." So that's pretty much how it works. It's the same with Thomas Massey in the United States. He was questioning in Israel all the time, but the funding, etc., how we're funding in Israel so much. And see what happened to him. They were out to get him, basically, in the Republic. His own party was out to get him. His own party were out to destroy him. You even see Donald Trump was out to get him because he was questioning, why Israel is getting so much money. Like that's what would happen. Say, for example, if Willie O'Deed was, said to Micheál Martin, "I'm going to stand against you with this EU migration pact." Like he's not going to, even though he should do. He's there that long. He's only another maybe year. Like this term of the dollar. Like Howley's going to run for another election. Like at that stage, he'd be fucking 102. But what I'm trying to say is he's not going to do it. But he's simply not going to do it. Because there's no incentive in the end of the day because he's still getting paid. And it's only when you take away their money maybe they would do something. But at the end of the day, they're not going to do anything because they're still getting paid. So that's the problem. But I say we could email the moon, basically, and they'll do nothing, basically, because unfortunately, a lot of the emails will go in the bin, basically, they ignore them. And that's just the sad truth. Like, we could literally write 1 billion emails to every politician in the country about the EU migration pact and plead with them, beg them to listen and to vote no. And a lot of them would just be ignored, as simple as that. That's just a simple thing. It's the same with the fuel protest that time. The thousands of emails sent to politicians and stuff, and the wall just ignored. And some of the politicians even blocked, like the word fuel protest, etc., because they didn't want to get any things. Because that's just the thing, they can ignore it. It's the same with in England. The way to have a petition website for the UK government. The way if you get 100,000 signatures, you can petition the government to enact this legislation. I don't know if anybody ever seen that, but I shared the video the other day of it. And have a look at it. Have a look at it because literally only one piece of legislation ever came out of that. Basically, have a look at it on the community post. But yeah, that was supposed to be a way for the people to speak to the government, to tell the government we want this enacted. But the government can basically just ignore people. It's the same with digital ID. Basically, nearly 3.2 million or something signed a petition to the government of the United Kingdom to not bring in digital ID. And the government was like, "No, we're going to ignore you," basically. So 3.2 billion people wrote their name down. And the government was like, "No, we're not going to listen to you." So, that's pretty much what you're up against, too. Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. But the meeting with the more than that. I'd be surprised if it's only 17 times. It's more 70 times, not 17 times. But yeah. Oh my god, the backside's gone. But yeah, but I'm making fit in the EU migration pact. But unfortunately, I have to just be honest with you. It'll take a miracle for somebody like in the Irish government not to opt into it, because there's no opposition to it. Basically, what I mean by opposition, you need them. You need the Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael TDs to rebel. That's the only way to get it not go through. Is if the one party rebels against it, and none of them are going to do it. Like you see in Fianna Fáil at the moment, Fianna Fáil is in a mess, and none of them are willing to take out Micheál Martin, not take him out, but get rid of him out of the party. Like you seen the election results, the by-election, like Fianna Fáil has done the worst they ever have, and still none of them in Fianna Fáil, like Mary Butler or take for example, Willie O'Deed or Norma Foley or any of them are willing to stand against them. Like none of them have stood against them to get him out, etc. So they're not going to do it now, basically what I'm trying to say. So it would take a miracle. Like at most you might get one, but that's very unlikely. Like none of them are willing to stand up against to lose their seat, etc. We can hope, but I hate to tell you, but I think it's a lost cause. Because they won't do it. Simple as that. We'll see what the opposition does, but whatever the so-called opposition, but there's no way any of the government TDs are going to do it. Not a hope, unless somebody was willing to pay them, unless we're going to ring up Elon Musk. Unless the only way we can do it is if we ring up Elon Musk and Elon Musk gives them a few billion each, maybe. And that might secure their place maybe before it gets the government. Because they're not going to do it for nothing. They'll be wanting money for it if they voted against the government or stood against the government. Like Mary Butler and the people like her are not going to stand against her own government or hold position as chair, as the chief whip, etc. Buff and cured, Pog. It could be just the weather too. The weather is a bit frightening. The West. But yeah, no, that's just my view on it. What do we do? Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, in Lockwood. But yeah, no, I did see that in Lockwood, yeah. Back a while ago. But it's not so much the councillors, just to say, it's more the TDs to do with the EU migration pact and stuff. But the simple truth is that it's going to pass regardless of what happens, I think. It's just one of those things. Yeah, it's the same with the triple lock. Like, I'm sure people have heard about the triple lock. It's not happening now, right now. But at the end of the year, they're talking about moving legislation forward, around November or so, to end the triple lock in terms of Irish troop deployments, like peacekeeping deployments, etc. So basically, they usually would have to get the approval of the United Nations and the Dáil to deploy Irish troops to Lebanon, to other places, peacekeeping. And they basically want to abolish that, basically, by the end of the year. So we see how that goes. That's probably going to be an obstacle. Like what I mean by an obstacle, people are going to give out fuck about it, and rightly so. But I think there'll be more opposition to that than there will be against the EU migration pact. Do you get my drift? Because a lot of people I knew this was coming up with the EU migration pact, but a lot of people were taken by surprise within the last week or two. They seemed to have forgot all about it that was coming in. Because I was talking to a person there the other day and they didn't even know it was coming in. They thought it was already in. So that just goes to show you that a lot of people weren't paying attention to this. And, it's a bit too late, I suppose, now to organise an opposition to it. And even if you got 100,000 people outside Dáil Éireann, it still wouldn't make a hit of difference, unfortunately. The only thing you could do is when Ireland assumes the presidency of the European Council in a month's time, you can just block up Dublin. Like, hopefully the farmers will. when it comes to the European presidency, because that's probably what the time they will do when all the heads of state of Europe will be here in Ireland. They're going to cause probably chaos for the government because we see the Gaudi are fucking just sick of it already and it hasn't even started. So, there's going to be quite trouble over that, basically. Yeah, which was a disaster for Germany, yes. Very clear to be seen there was a disaster for Germany. But Germany's a far bigger country than Ireland, of course, too. Like, it's a far bigger country. It's fucking huge compared to Ireland. Like, Ireland's only a small... It wouldn't even fit into Germany once. Like, it's just so small and stuff. And, of course, Germany's always had a relatively big population, too. Yeah, but what's the population? The population of Germany is like 60-something million, isn't it? Nearly 70 million. Like, in the grand scheme of things, that's, not a huge change. But in terms of Ireland, when you look at the figures for Ireland, something like that. But in terms of Ireland, like, there's only 5 million people here. Like, bringing in 100 or 500,000, or nearly 600,000 into Ireland, it's a huge change. It's a huge change. You're talking about maybe a 10% or 15% change of the population. With Germany, take for example, that's barely probably, I don't know, but in less than probably 5%. Like, in Ireland, it's very, extreme because it's such a small country compared to Germany with a huge population, etc. But I get your point. Yeah, like they're big countries compared to Ireland. Like the United Kingdom too would have about 60 million, isn't it? 60 million or something in the United Kingdom, 40 million, isn't it? In England. Yeah, it would be that, wouldn't it? 40, 50 million, something like that. Yeah, something like I know about Turkey. Turkey would have a lot of people. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. That's only a small minority, basically 1.1 million. I know it sounds a lot for an Irish perspective, but for that, it's only a drop in the ocean, But it is still 1.1 million. Don't get me wrong, it is, yeah. But you get my point, I suppose. But it'd be more like if, say, for Slovakia or Denmark, etc., small countries like that. Yeah, like Spain is a big country too, but you have to remember, Spain is massive too. Like Ireland's very small, Denmark is very small. Slovakia, Luxembourg, Belgium even too is small. Portugal isn't that big too. Like, big like France, Germany, Poland, Finland even too is big, like probably landmass, etc. You get my point, but Ireland's like very small compared to the rest of the countries. Yeah, well, that'd be roughly what Portugal has. It'd be around roughly that, yes. But yeah, the biggest country in Europe would be Ukraine, actually. Like Ukraine is massive too. I don't know if you know that, but Ukraine is massive. You could fit Ireland 15 or 16 times into Ukraine. Like Ukraine is massive, a massive country, like really massive. It's the biggest country in Europe. The only other countries probably will come close are France and Italy and Germany. But Ukraine, would be the biggest. In terms of landmass, like that. Even Ukraine has 40-something million people. Which is a lot of people too. Around that, I think it's 40, something like that, around that. I'm not too sure. Maths could be a bit wrong since the last few years. Because you just don't know nowadays. There's people coming in everywhere. Yeah, Finland's quite big, but there's very few people around. Like the majority of people live in the south of Finland. In Tampere, Turku, and Helsinki. Helsingfors. And Sweden is quite big too. But very few people live up in Finland and stuff. There's more people in Sweden than in Finland. Mainly because it's more harsher. It's more harsher climate. Yeah, But you have to remember the Netherlands too and Denmark too, if you're counting Greenland, because a lot of people do count Greenland into Denmark, because technically it's a part of Denmark. So yeah, if you add Greenland, it's very big. And of course the Netherlands, so you have to remember the Netherlands, that they have islands in the Caribbean, you know. Yeah, but a lot of the Netherlands is land that they reclaimed from the sea, if that makes any sense. Like they're taking the land from the sea, basically. Because the Netherlands is as flat as a pancake, basically. Like they had to reclaim the land from the sea, basically, in the Netherlands. So a lot of it would be artificial, like land, basically. Land from the sea. We're just talking about land mass of countries now. We're just turned into the geography channel. We're just talking about geography now. We're going to become a geography YouTuber. But yeah, that'd be funny. But yeah, funny. Just become a geography YouTuber. Oh my God. Geography, yeah, Adrian Logan. But no, there's a channel called like it's time to learn geography or something like that. You know that thing. What's it called? Geography Now or something like that. Geography Now, yes. So we'd be taking theirs, like, you know, we couldn't do that. Yeah, like they've done it on many countries, all in a long time ago. But yeah. But I know all about geography because, you know, we're coming in for Leitrim. We declare that Leitrim belongs to the people of Cavan. Leitrim belongs to the people of Cavan, as they say. So we always are into change of maps to suit the agenda, of course. Allegedly, of course, too. But yeah. Is there anything else I want to say or anything I want to do? Not really, to be totally honest. Yeah, there's not really anything else I want to talk because we kind of went through a lot. Hold the phone. So we just literally had this as soon as we were saying, "Oh, fucking not the dog," but so this is just out the report by the local media here in Cavan. So this is for 2025 in Cavan. As we know about in 2024, the Cavan was the second most crime-ridden county in the country, apart from Dublin. Like literally, it was Dublin and then Cavan. So think about that for a second. So in 2025, there was 3,233 crimes reported across 17 Garda stations in County Cavan. Cavan Town alone, just to hear this, Cavan Town alone reported last year 1,500 crimes last year. In Monaghan, there was 2,436 crimes reported. Yeah. Yeah. So it's about in all, in Cavan and Monaghan for last year was 5,500 crimes, and for a population of about Cavan is nearly 100,000. It'd be 95,000, something like that. Monaghan would be like 30 something. About 140,000 people, which is a lot for such two small counties. 140,000 people, and there was 5,500 crimes. That's what we know of. These are the crimes that we know of that was reported to Garda Síochána. There's probably another 1,000 or two that wouldn't report it, because there's often crimes that don't get reported. You know, particularly when it comes to burglaries, small crimes like that. People just couldn't be bothered to report it to the Gardaí because the Gardaí wouldn't be bothered to take the reports out. Yes, we're going to do that. What happened to Germany is going to happen here. No. Allegedly, of course, too. But yeah, so there you go. I probably should put that in the community post too. Yeah, plenty going report, but still a lot. Like in Cavan Town alone, there's 1,500. You have to remember too, Cavan Town only has a population of 11,000 people, so that's a lot of crimes for just 1 year. In total across the country, listen to this: 274,000 crimes were reported last year. 200,000 basically, 200,000. Nearly 300,000 crimes were reported last year in the whole Republic of Ireland, basically. Which is still a huge amount, too, when you think about it. Yeah. We need Santa Marin. That's what we need. That's who we need. We need that. We need that woman here. What is a woman? But yeah, that's pretty much all for tonight. We will play the game tonight. We'll wait probably to tomorrow. How does that sound? Because I am a bit tired. I was doing a lot of strumming the last few days. We're strumming like a place that's been left for the last fucking billion years to go over. And I kid you not, it's literally up to my shoulder. Like at some points, it was literally up to my fucking face, like my eyes, the grass. Dominique McGee, oh no, has she? Oh dear, she's come back from retirement, has she? But yeah, literally up to my eyes, quite literally up to my eyes. Like the grass was that long. So yeah, we had an awful lot. We had an awful doing with the grass. Well, when I say they had an awful doing, it was me that was cutting it because the rest of them wouldn't do it. Mainly down to that it was just fucking too high, and it's just fucking wet as fucking etc. But yeah. Greeno in Cotillo, of course in Cotillo. Why wouldn't be? In Cavan the grass grows like fucking, I don't know, I don't know what, like, but yeah, the grass, like everything, the fields of Attenwire here, basically, the whole place just grows. What the fuck? Also, yeah, did you see the thing I posted the other day, Aaron Only? You were saying, what was it? Adios, goodbye, what was it? What was it? What exactly? Adios or something, yeah. And it was like, you big dick. So, I don't know where that came from, but yeah, Google had a great time. Where in the name of God am I? Yes, on Saturday. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I put it in the community post. Now I can't remember now. Jeez, I'm getting old. Too much happening. What is happening here? Yeah. Oh, you split. Sorry, I'm just looking at something here now. Jesus. Always something to distract me. Always have to find something. But yeah, is there anything else anybody wants to ask me or discuss about anything? Because now is the time to ask me. The West has fallen. Everything's blew up. The West. But yeah, is there anything else? So we do the game and live stream tomorrow. We might only play 2 more live streams of it. We not do the cavan and Leitrim game tomorrow either. We probably wait until the last live stream of the game. That's a good question. We don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I don't think she ever will, unfortunately. Yeah, like I know nothing about any book effect or anything. Yeah, so get it trending, get it going, get it started. But no, I know nothing about her coming here yet to sign any books, like book signing and stuff. I don't know anything about that yet. Don't know, so we wait and see, I suppose, too. But it won't be anytime any sooner because Sana is going to Sweden next week. Yeah, she's something in Stockholm. As far as I can gather, yeah, and I think she's in London or somewhere the week after that. That's something. It could be London actually this week. Yeah, it could be London this week actually. I can't remember exactly. Because she's only back from Japan today. So yeah. No, we're not going. I wouldn't get on this fee. You have to be invited to this event. Like, excuse me. And they wouldn't let me enter. And first of all, I wouldn't go to Sweden anyway. Like I probably would get the ticket if I asked them. I would probably get it if I did put in the request to get it. But I just couldn't be bothered. Anyways, they go to Sweden. Because it'd be different if I knew Sweden. Like, I never was in Sweden. I don't know where I'm going in Stockholm. Basically, what I'm trying to say. And that's. Yeah, like we talked about that time. Like we were planning that time. I told you about the Democracy Summit in Copenhagen. But so Stockholm's a bit bigger than Copenhagen and Oslo, etc. Stockholm's far bigger than Helsinki and stuff. And not that many people in Sweden can speak English. You'd be surprised, but not many can speak English in Sweden. In Finland, they can because they do learn it at school and stuff, and everybody can speak English basically. But in Norway and Denmark and Sweden and stuff, very rarely can a lot of people speak English. Fluently, I suppose that makes sense. So you have that problem too. But yeah, it just didn't work out, particularly the Oslo one, because we're supposed to go to the Oslo Business Conference. It would have cost an insane amount of money. It wasn't the money so much; it was more the fact. What was really fucking me off about the Oslo Business Conference, even though I was going to go and stuff. It was the Norwegian crowns. I couldn't understand the Norwegian money, and the same with the Danish crowns. I couldn't understand it. I just can never understand it because it's different, And when you're dyslexic and stuff, it kind of messes with you in your brain and stuff. So that's another reason why I didn't go. But I could have went. I should have probably went. I do regret not going. But it all worked out in the end. I got to meet at the end, just took a bit longer. Also, just to say, anybody want to hear a weird story. Just in the here, just off the record, I suppose. Yeah, like in the GTA community, yes, I've seen him before, yes. So there's this website called Radio Garden. Has everybody ever heard of Radio Garden? Has anybody ever heard of it? Just before, because there is a radio station. Like you can hear two radio stations all across the world. I'm so bad at explaining stuff. But yeah, so this kind of website called Radio Garden. And I would ask people to have a look at it because it is interesting to see other countries' radio stations. You can see it from all across the world. But there is one that's really, really sus. And I nearly was going to contact the authorities about it because it's really, really sus. Like, it really, really is very sus. And that's a radio station in New York and stuff. But I think it's really, really sus. And I have very bad vibes of it. But presumably the FBI will be looking into it. Clearly, like I would ask to have a listen to it because it's clearly just absolutely fucking off the wall. It's called Payphone Radio. Have a look at that. Have a look at that if you have a chance. Yeah, but it's a radio station in New York. But presumably, because what the person is talking about, clearly he is mentally disturbed. Like, there's no doubt about it. I show you, but but I'm not like show you what he's saying because some of the stuff he's saying it's really disturbing, like really, really disturbing. Like you have to remember, as I said to you there, I was nearly at the point of ringing up to get in touch with somebody in the US government to see about this because it's really, really sus. Like I just happened to be going around listening to it, and it is quite disturbing. Like it is really quite disturbing. And I usually wouldn't, like I wouldn't be that person that would, but I'm quite worried about safety and stuff regarding this person. So it's called Radio Garden. So just type that in, you get it. So it's called Payphone Radio. It's New York. You get this, but you can listen to other radio stations. I can't play it unfortunately because it's awful. But you can see all these green dots. They're radio stations. Like you see here, like you see here in Ireland, like you can listen to any radio station, which is quite handy. I was saying about Malaysian channel. Like, do you see this channel here? This is Malaysian. Like, this channel is from, like, a Malaysian channel. Like, here in Cavan, it's Northern Sound and stuff, of course, the radio station. But then you click on Dublin, etc. But basically, you can just get radio stations and listen to them. They're actually quite good. They can see in Dublin, there's 58 radio stations. They're coming out of Dublin and stuff. Like, there's some banger tunes, too, traditional tunes and stuff. But Payphone, like, it really is disturbing. It is very disturbing. Like as soon as you listen to it, you understand. Oh, yeah, that was in Wexford, yes. Like that's how I came across it because I was just happened to look across, like looking for random channels, just listening to it because it's interesting just to hear. Because I was listening to random stations in the middle of nowhere in the United States, just talking about random stuff. There was one woman talking about her blinds, like the way these curtains, and she was talking on the radio station, and I swear to God, you think she was talking about nuclear war or something like that, because she was like, "Oh, it's awful how bad it is," But have a look at it, listen to it later on. But it is quite disturbing, just to say. But surely to God, because again, I was nearly at the point of going and ringing up somebody over it because it was quite severe, some of the stuff he was saying, and I had very bad feelings about it, really very bad feelings down my bones about it. So, but presumably the FBI knows about it. Presumably they couldn't not know about it. But yeah, but no, have a listen to it. But it is quite disturbing, so just be aware of that. But yeah, that's good. Oh yes, yeah, the Call of Duty. I would call him the Call of Duty YouTuber. Yes, yes, him. Yes. Yeah, I presume he's from Loud. I think he might be for some part of Dublin. I'm not sure. He doesn't. Uh, we're not sure who he is. Basically. Nobody knows who he is. Because somebody have asked me before about him, but I know who he was and stuff. But he doesn't show his face and stuff. And he's white, I suppose, in the way not to show his face. But he's kind of the old. I would call it the OG, like YouTubers and stuff. Because years ago, he used to be Call of Duty gameplay over political commentating and stuff. So, but I think he's good. He's doing well. He's speaking up the truth, and he's fair play to him. That's how I say to him. Because it's not easy to get. Well, he has his voice out there, but it's not easy to do it. But yeah, I'm presuming somewhere down there, too Loud or some part of Dublin, maybe even Mead. I'm not sure, but he will probably never know. I don't think he ever will probably will say. But that makes any sense. But anyway, that's it for tonight. That's enough talking about real radio stations and talking about bringing Santa Marin to cavan and stuff. Even though that would be pog, but when that's probably never going to happen, unfortunately. Look at thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I know it's been a long enough live stream. So we'll be playing that game tomorrow night, the GA game tomorrow night. I can't say I've seen it, to be generally honest. I can't say I have. But yeah, take care, everyone. Appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow night for that game and live stream. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, everyone. And we see you tomorrow. Hopefully that game and live stream, as I said. There probably will be a video or two up. So take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening and goodbye.